Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steve with thesalessyndicate.com, and on today's video, we are going to talk about the biggest differences between five-figure coach consultants and agency owners and seven-figure coaches and consultants and agency owners. So stay with me to the very end. Please comment if you have any questions. I'm happy to shoot additional content, but let's jump into it right now. All right, so the first thing that you have to understand as an entrepreneur is advertising. Everything starts with advertising. I can't tell you how many businesses, coaches that I've worked with that were focused so much on the back end fulfillment and deliverable of their product or service. It has to be great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your services or products actually are if you can't generate interest. It starts with being able to generate interest. So forget everything else and figure out how to be able to generate interest. Because if you can't advertise, you can't sell your services or product, regardless of how amazing it actually is. Stop focusing on working on your course for 5 years prior to actually learning advertising because it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do. If you can't advertise, you're never going to sell, you're never going to make money. Just figure out how to be able to generate interest. It doesn't all have to be through paid advertising, it could be through social media. Figure out how to generate a conversation with you is step number one. That's all you have to focus on. Now, step number two is something that I love helping businesses out with, which is obviously their sales process. The minute that you can actually generate interest, and typically the difference between a 5 and 7 figure business, normally they've been able to figure out how to generate some interest. They haven't mastered the skill of advertising, number one, but at least they've sold their services or products. So the second thing that you have to be able to focus on has to do with your sales ability. Your ability to close and sell business in order for you to be able to fill it. And this is oftentimes where I see businesses completely get stumped. It's why they never get into 6 figures. It's why they never get into 7 figures, is because they don't realize and don't master their craft when it comes to sales. Not only for themselves personally, but when it comes to actually hiring and training and developing an entire sales team, it's a completely other business. And so in order for you to really go out there and scale and grow, you have to recognize that in order for me to grow and scale this amazing back-end fulfillment product or service or whatever it is that you actually have, I need to master closing business. It all starts with obviously money being transacted. So there's a couple things that you need to focus on. One, as a coach or consultant, I had a perfect example of a client of this. Came to me, was in another marketing and advertising program and had been working with the business for a while now. He actually got to the point where he actually set up his funnel. He actually got to the point where he was generating interest, but his biggest Achilles heel had to do with the sales process. I think he took something like 57 book scheduled calls and didn't close one of them. Now all of a sudden, all of this time and energy and effort into putting together this amazing course was completely irrelevant because he wasn't closing business. Worked with him for about a couple of weeks, and in a relatively short time, we actually had him closing about 50% of those appointments. Now, because he has the revenue, he actually has the ability to actually bring on sales reps. And because we put together processes and KPIs on what had to happen on those sales calls in order for him to be able to advertise more, now he's in a perfect situation to be able to scale and grow. And his time and energy can be completely focused on the advertising and providing amazing services. So the third thing that you have to focus on is providing world-class service. Now, I see this happen all the time. Like I said earlier, businesses will focus on putting together this amazing world-class course. And at the end of the day, it's irrelevant because of the fact that if they're not actually generating interest and they can't close business into that product or service, don't spend so much time on it. Advertising and sales, because of the revenue, solves a lot of major problems for businesses because you can hire, you can scale, you can focus more of your resources into putting together this awesome experience for the customers in order for them to become raving fans that then in return refers your businesses or services or products. Coaches, consultants, agency owners, don't focus so much on the fulfillment at the very beginning of your business. Make sure that you're pricing it obviously accordingly. Don't spend 5 years putting together a course that you have no idea if you can actually market and advertise and actually sell. Focus on advertising and closing businesses. And then, once again, obviously from a sales standpoint, make sure that your sales processes are dialed in in putting yourself in a situation where you can get the revenue to be able to create that world-class experience for the customers. So hopefully that was helpful, you guys. So click the like button, smash the subscribe button. I'd love for you to be able to comment below, ask me any questions that you have. Happy to be able to deliver additional content on specific questions that you have. I'm looking forward to seeing you on other videos. Cheers.